Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What's up, friends? I got too far from the mic. Welcome, friends. Welcome back to the TV Terminal. My name is Adam Vale, senior editor over at the Koalition, and I'm joined by editor-in-chief, the big boss, as we call him, final boss, Richard Bailey Jr. What's up, Rich?
What's up, Adam? What's up, listeners and viewers?
Yes, listeners and viewers, and you viewing are looking at me, and some may get upset, and hopefully most of you will not, because I am wearing a Jalen Brunson New York Knicks jersey. That is correct. No surprise, supporting my boys. They made it pretty far. I'm surprised that they made it this far. I've been following for years. They've had their ups and downs. You know, I went to high school with a Knicks player, Stephon Marbury. I remember saying, "You're gonna make it to the pros?" Damn right. And he did for a little bit. He played for the Knicks for a couple of years and stuff. Made it big in China. Shout out to him. It was fantastic. But anyway, super excited for that, right? This is a lot going on this weekend. That's the other reason why I'm all hyped. Do the watch party and all that stuff. But hey, another exciting reason is From is back. And this episode 8, season 4, Heavy in the Heart is the Heart. Heavy is the Heart. This was a jam-packed episode. A lot happened here. There was a lot of back and forth that we'll break down, because as you all heard, there were some people on the same page with my thoughts of like, what the hell, you've been talking for 2 episodes about the door, the tunnel, the mushrooms, and then you abandon that idea and say, let's try something else, let's just go and kill these things. The frustration was there, but now it looks like we're back to the plan of going into the tunnels, but to find another way, not the door. Okay, but what is up with the door? Can they really not open? Is it that sealed that they can't just rip it off the hinges? Rich, they right? What? Oh, it just frustrates me.
No, the door is sealed until the season finale, when all of
there you go.
They revisit that, and then they figure it out.
You got it. There you go. You come here for all the answers, people. All the answers. Thank you again for real quick for the likes, the hypes, the subs, the shares. Everything has been blowing up, growing. I have all kinds of crazy news to share with everybody soon, regarding all that, because it's been great. It's been great. But yeah, let's just get into this, because we got Donna. She's walking around now, hanging out with Boyd and everyone in the living room. And what was it, Roger? He's dead. And it was like, shoot. I should have made an audio for that clip, but Donna was like, well, he was dead before, but now he's double dead. It's like, yeah, you know what? Let's double check that. I would have just stabbed him one more time. Just a double check. Let's make sure this dude doesn't get up. Right. But he was shocked. Boyd was shocked to find out that it was Elgin that did the deed. And he's like, man, all right. So why are you shocked? This man, Elgin's a little loopy with things. Remember the whole situation with Fatima and kidnapping and all this stuff? He's willing to go the extra mile if he has to. And here he had to. He had to save what's her name? We'll just call her Colony House Extra 3, right? I don't know who she is. We see her also in this episode. She makes an appearance hanging out with Sophia, but put in the comments if you were like, man, I know who she is. I don't remember her at all. They always give numbers for how many people live here. And it's always changing. And I'm like, okay, fine. If you say so, we get it. We don't need to see everybody, but I was surprised by this. We even said before, it's like, it would have made sense if he grabbed or reached for one of the other main characters. Grab Randall, grab Randall. Then we're like, oh, because it's not like she died. She didn't die. So it would have worked out. It would have worked out. It's like, especially now that Randall and Elgin are boys, right? They're in the cooking crew. They're hanging out. They're high-fiving. Yeah, it would make sense. That he saves him. But Fatima comes down and she's like, I got problems, but then I got some other stuff to share with you. Well, it was really Alice saying all this stuff, just saying that they have to go take a look at Fatima, because it turns out she's explaining what we saw, where she can see through the eyes of the creature. And she says, I'm the one that saved Kenny. And they're like, really? You think you could? Yeah, I could do that. I have that connection. Remember, I said it before. I can feel things. Well, at least she was telling that to Ellis, right? That she could feel this connection. And we knew that was going to come up again at some point. And this is it. It comes up. She feels that connection. But the big shocker of all this is she shows her stomach. and she's got veins and all kinds of craziness happening there. Not looking good. Not looking good. Trying to figure this out. What's going on? Everybody's in shock. And this is right before the show even starts. And then we get the 15-minute intro song. Yeah. So they were really throwing a lot at us early on to put this together. And so what did you think of this big reveal with Fatima? I wasn't too surprised that she told them. It's like, oh yeah, I got this connection. It's great, but I'm still not sure with the veins and all that stuff. What's going on with her? Is she transforming into a creature?
Yeah, I thought this was interesting. I didn't know she was. I did figure she was going to tell them about the fact that she knew about what happened with Kenny and felt that connection. But yes, the veins on the stomach, I did not know they were heading in that direction. So that definitely is something that's a little bit more interesting. Know that she said multiple times she feels connected to the creature. So I want to see where they're going with that. I don't really know if that's a question they're going to answer by the end of the season, because it feels like there's a lot of questions that they raise in this episode. A lot of things are happening. I don't think they're going to answer all this stuff within the next 2 episodes. So we have to wait to see what the long-term plan is for what they're doing with her character.
Yeah, what are they doing with her character? That is going to be interesting, because I was expecting to see something happen with the talisman. Not the talisman. The big creature that she was creating, the golem, right? It's like,
yeah,
no one brings that up. That didn't get brought up at all in this episode. And I was a little frustrated with that, especially when we get into later parts and she's like, I'm going to go live at the clinic, the whole thing. It's like, I'm waiting, and maybe it'll happen in the next episode for Alice to just, well, let me bring this big thing along and we'll put this and protect you. And then that's when it comes alive. Like someone in the comment we were talking about, it's like, yeah, it's going to come alive. It's going to start ripping them apart. It's going to be fantastic. We're hoping for the finale that something like that happens. But we see that Ethan, he's now drawing pictures. Right? He's following the lead of Victor, because Victor said, hey, this is how you survive. You don't have any pictures or Polaroids or anything like that camera, so just draw everybody that you remember. This is a good practice here. Tabitha sees this, like, no, he was scared. Victor talks a little crazy. No, he's right. In fact, you know what? Let's go see him. I need to learn. I need to master the art of survival, because you are all going to die, and it's going to be up to me. I have to learn to deal with that. Can we talk to the master? Can we go see the master? And she's shocked by all this, though. She's shocked because most people would, right? They're like, oh, my Lord, this man was talking crazy to my kid, saying that everybody's going to die. It's going to be up to him to survive. And then my kid is drinking the Kool-Aid. But with everything that Ethan has seen, experienced, what else? Because think about it, the truth, and I'm sure people listening and like, yes, I know, and this is why I subscribe to this channel. You're right. When everyone leaves here, they will all need serious counseling. All of them will need serious counseling. We saw that when they teased Tabitha leaving. Remember, they were like, where's your family, Tabitha? Where's your husband? Last time we saw you were in a trip. Where are they? I don't know where they are. That's a non-answer. You're going to jail. And it's the same is going to happen when they go back. If they get out of this, where's your husband? All right, so she got the kids, hopefully, if they survive, to back her up. Oh, it was this crazy accident. Okay. Boy, where's your wife? I can't lie. Well, she went crazy. I had to shoot her. Oh, you killed your wife. Could you take her to the body? I don't want to go back. Oh, so you don't want to go back to where you killed your wife. You know what? You're going straight to jail. Everybody, wrangle them all up. Everybody's going to jail. It's going to be tough. For them to explain it. And this is a callback to Lost. If you guys remember Lost, when they did make it out and they made it back, there was a lot of questions. What did you do with this? How did this happen? And different stories and scenarios. And that became a whole season of them trying to justify and explain their actions. And I wonder if we would get to that. I hope not, because I hated that. I don't need to see all that. I don't want that. I do want to see them get out of this. We know there's a 5th and final season coming. So hopefully we do see them get out. But that was interesting with the whole thing about, I'm just going to accept it, Ethan. And then she was like, all right, you know what? Let's go find Victor. At the same time, we got Boyd hanging out. Well, he goes to go hang out with Jade and Kenny. Because Jade is working. If there's anybody that's really working to figure things out, it's Jade on this show, right? You saw that whole display that he created of the caverns, I could barely remember 2 blocks away from my house. And this dude went down there once and he remembered everything in pitch black, maybe with some glimmer of light here and there. Fantastic. Boyd is not impressed by any of this craftsmanship. He doesn't care. I'm surprised he didn't just smash it, But he's like, no, none of this matters. He's like, why? He's like, all right, so how do we get in? Well, we go through this way and go through here. Where's the other way? What's the other way? There is no other way. That's it. There's one way in, one way out. And he's like, well, then we're screwed. You can't do this, which is true, right? What would you do? Would you go down there if there's only one way in and one way out?
You're talking about with Jade's plan?
Yeah,
the tree?
Yeah, because that was before we even get to the tree. Because remember, he was when he showed up at Jade's place, and Jade was like, "Yeah, all right, here's the whole layout. I remembered everything. We're gonna go here, kill, and then we get out." And he was like, "All right, but how do we do that?"
Well, it seems like Boyd is very, very cautious. He's wrestling with the idea of whether or not he's going to work with Jade to figure things out, whether or not he believes Jade, and it feels like this is an ongoing theme. Because we already saw this in the previous episode where he kept having Father Acosta kept coming back and telling him, you should listen to Jade. But it's the same thing where he's still struggling with that. And then he also has other things he has going on in this episode. So I understand being cautious. You don't want to come up with a plan that's going to backfire and get people hurt. But it's the same thing back and forth with him struggling with this.
Yeah, struggling is right, and he wants to shoot down the plan instantly. Doesn't want to even hear anything of it. And then this was funny.
How? I don't know. I'm not the genius. Figure it out. Sure. While I'm at it, why don't I just build a fucking hot air balloon and fly us all out of here? That'd be great.
That'll be great. Let's do that. Or what about with the lake? Where's the water coming from? Or is it just a closed off lake? Maybe there's another path. They don't really go exploring too far. Now we know with the roads they can't because there's a tree. But there are certain elements of what go across the lake. What's on the other side of the lake? I don't know. It's too late now. I think the show is done exploring. We had a lot of that previous seasons. Remember Boyd leaving with a backpack? I'm gonna go find her. That's how we found the settlement and the tree bottles. Jake. They're done exploring. Now it's just focus on what's happening there. But it's very tricky with the whole thing. Kenny comes out and then trying to talk some sense into him. Come on, we gotta try something. It makes sense. He's like, no, it doesn't. None of it makes sense. You can't just go in there one way, one out. No, everybody would just die if they close off that area. We're screwed. I'm buying into it, but then all of a sudden we hear gunshot. That was loud. It was very loud.
Oh yeah.
It actually got me jumping a little bit, like whoa. Right? We were like, oh, who's fucking shots here? All right, but sure enough, it's no one. It's in his head. I'm not sold on this part of the story. People, I am not sold. And the part of the story I'm talking about is this whole thing with Boyd still having issues with the passing and having to put Abby down. That happened so long ago. This is a type of story I feel, this part that you bring up early on in the series, right when things are just coming together and he's still dealing with it. This happened years ago for them. At this point, this isn't recent for it to come back the way it is, as if this is season 1 or season 2. It's throwing me off because I don't know why. Why are you doing this? Why are you now? Is he dealing with it? Even later on, when the reverend, the priest, comes back to him in a vision, I was like, you have to learn to let go and let go. It's like so much has happened since that point that it's like. Let go. He should have let go, but he was dealing with a lot of stress when Kenny's mom died, last season. That was a big one. Remember the stress? This would make more sense to me. Replace Abby with Kenny's mom and her popping up saying, I thought you were gonna save, and start speaking in English. I thought you were gonna save my son. I thought you were gonna get him out of here. Get that guilt going. But no, they're doing the Abby thing. And we saw a few episodes back. Remember, they had the Evil Dead moment, the hand grabbing and all stuff. And now he's hearing things. Kenny doesn't hear this stuff. And it's just something about, I don't know. Is it me? How do you feel about that? Just the whole Abby thing going on with Boyd and that this is what's triggering him. Is it working for you?
I definitely think you made a very good point where they could have just had him dealing with the situation with Kenny's mom and having that be what haunts him. The only reason why they are doing this with his wife is because they told us before that this thing likes to play with you, makes you see stuff that you that's not there. And I assume that they're just really messing with him at this point. Because again, they keep going back to the whole Abby thing and the fact that he was the one that pulled the trigger that took out his wife. I think this is why he still hasn't gotten over it, because it's a very traumatic thing. But I do agree, it's just like they're just dragging it on just to keep him preoccupied. And the thing is, he already has the health issues going on with the shaking. Yeah, so I would think that would be enough. You don't need to do all this additional stuff. But I don't know where they're going with this other than that they're just messing around with it psychologically.
Well, we'll see. We'll see where it's going with this, unless she comes back. Again, people put in the comments, how do you feel about all this? I did get a lot of people thinking that the big reveal is going to be Eloise. Eloise has got to play a big part in this, because that's the one character that we hear all the time about, and we don't see. We've only seen her as a little kid in that, I think, that one episode where she was with Victor, and then Victor was like, hey, I'm supposed to protect you, and I want to go find mommy, and she opens the door and goes running out, and that was it. So some more has to come up. But during that whole point, we'll also Tabitha and Ethan find Victor. It's like, hey, go ahead, tell my son you didn't mean anything by it, and that's not true. No, it is all true. What are you talking about? What? Stop. It was like, no, this is survival. He wants to learn. I'm willing to teach. You want to do this? And she was like, all right, let's go for it. So then they head off to do survival stuff, right? Which we'll get into. That was fun. That was so creepy. Oh my Lord, Victor. Victor is a creeper. I don't care what happens now. I think he's definitely one of the creepier ones. You still have to keep an eye on him. People are like, oh, yeah, I got an eye on you. I got on you. And I have both eyes on you, buddy. I still don't trust Victor. But anyway, we jump over to the clinic. We got Christy and Marielle and Fatima and Ellis. They're there. They're talking about this whole thing. And they're doing examinations on her, and they call it's like varicose veins. She's thinking, it's like, but there's something doesn't really add up here. Why are you getting this? What's the connection? And Marielle says, well, you know what? That maybe this isn't a bad thing. Maybe this is all a good thing. You saved a life. You saved Kenny. If it wasn't for you, Kenny would be, who knows what he'd be, all ripped up. I mean, we've seen multiple people die on this show in horrific ways, so anything is possible. And either way, it wasn't going to be good for Kenny in this scene. And she saved him. So maybe this is a good thing. Ellis is like, well, I'm shocked. How dare you say this? What do you mean this is good? This can't be good. But she brings up the big part, though, Fatima. What if I'm turning into one of them? Is that possible? Could she turn into them? We'll get into, maybe she is already one of them. Toward the end of this episode, we find out. But it's just what's the outcome of this then? Only because we know the big bad is walking around. The man in yellow is part of the community. That's Sophia. So you would think if there is a connection with Sophia turning into one of the creatures, that Sophia would then try to bond with that creature, right? Bond with Fatima because of the connection, or try to do some kind of because in the beginning of this episode, that was one of the other parts after they find the dead body and the whole thing, and Sophia was watching the whole time, and she came down the next Boyd. Hey, did it work with the talisman? Did it work with the creature? Oh no, it didn't. Okay. Just making sure. But she knows. She knows everything that's going on with this, and I'm just surprised if this is what's happening. If there's a transformation occurring with Fatima, why is Sophia not getting involved? Or maybe she doesn't need to. Maybe this is just something that happens. And what if this is what's always happened? Maybe that all the other people that have shown up at Fromville, eventually something like this happens where they convert, or something, they get scratched, or somehow they wind up turning into a creature themselves. I don't know, but I think that's, out of all the storylines that are going on this season, that's the most interesting. A lot of stuff going on with Fatima. I already talked about the golem that she's building in her room. Interesting. I hope it comes alive. If it doesn't, epic fail. Right? We need true. What is it? Oh wow, that's great. It looks fantastic in your room. Does nothing for the community. But now knowing this, that they're upping the level in regards to her connection with the creature, and now that she might actually be transforming, and can she play both sides of the fence? I could see that being a thing, meaning that when they do eventually go into the tunnels, they don't attack her. One of those type of situations, throw another Walking Dead reference. Remember when Carl put all the guts on himself, to walk through the crew, and it's like, oh, you're one of us. She walks down there and they just don't attack her. They don't do anything, and she just starts killing them, and they're like, they don't know what to do because they've never had to kill one of their own. I could see that. That's just something I'm thinking of, but anything's possible. We'll see. All right, so then we jump back with Jade, right? And he's dealing with the whole thing, and he's smashing up the room. He's stressed out. He's struggling with all this stuff. He doesn't understand, why Boyd is being the way he is. Tells Kenny, hey, you got to talk to him. You got to convince him. We got to do this. This is the only way. We got it. We're going to go down there and this and that. But the meat and potatoes of the scene is that when Jade is talking about people going down in the tunnels, he's not really talking about himself. Right. And that's what Kenny brings up. He's like, people are like, yeah, well, that's the way it is. Maybe that's why no one got out, because no one's willing to make that hard decision, the tough choices. Real general says, all right, everybody going to war. Well, good chance the first people in the first row are not coming back. And this is the type of thing that Kenny brings up. It's like, well, are you going to be the one? And he stays quiet. No, he's not. He's the brains. He's the big thinker, right? He's not going to be the front lines guy. And that's what Kenny says. Exactly. You're not putting yourself on the line, so whatever. How do you sell that? It's not going to work to sell that to Boyd. He doesn't know the conflicts that Boyd's dealing with. We do with all this, but there's no way. I was expecting to see that too. Kenny was like, yeah. So Jade's saying, you know what? Can we sacrifice a few to save the many? What do you think of that? Are you cool with that, Boyd? And just to see, just like what, and just smack the crap out of Kenny. And it's like, can you do that? Can you send him that message? Well, what you do? Just smack him like that. Just hit him. No, it doesn't happen. But he does. Jade does smash his whole setup, smashes the whole room, so it's going nuts. And it's tough. It's a tough situation. But I get it. If this is the goal to go down there, yeah, some people are not going to make it out. Even if you have a quote unquote foolproof plan, there is still going to be unexpected events. Someone might trip, right? Someone might freeze and not attack because they're expecting everyone to have a weapon and to jab, kill all these creatures. Not everyone is going to have the courage to do something like that. Because remember, these creatures don't look like ants. Don't look like they look like humans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at the milkman, in the last episode. Come on now. They look like regular people. And to hand a weapon to someone's like, kill them. They know it's a creature, but then at the same time, you're seeing a human face and stuff. It can mess with you. So I think that might come up later on when they do decide to go down there. How do you convince people? I know Elgin, he's good with a knife. We just saw that. He's gung-ho. Randall, he wanted to start killing since day one when he showed up there, right? So we got those two on board. Who else? There probably a few people, but I think that's going to be a thing that comes up, so we'll see. This is where it gets creepy. For me, this was a creepy part. Victor taking him to the truck. We all remember the truck. This was his original hideout. This is where he lived. This was off the wall. Okay. For him just to talk about like, well, yeah, it was full of peaches. And then sometimes they eat bugs and plants, but mainly peaches. Hey, I got this rock. That's how I used to. Hey, you know what? I'm going to give you. You're going to need the rock. And to the camera to pan over to Tabitha and just see her like, oh, you put the hand on the head like, I can't believe this. What is happening? It's always been back and forth if Victor's crazy or not. And he is, but he's crazy in a way of like, the situation drove him crazy. You know what I mean? There was no other way around it. He lived alone for decades, and people, they come and go, but they never lasted long. It sounds like so far, he hasn't said it yet, but it sounds like this batch of people with Don and him, this is the longest he's ever been around people. This is the longest that they've ever lasted. But yeah, talking crazy with the rock and all this stuff. And he was like, oh, right. Oh, don't worry about it. Hold on. Oh, I know something that's going to be great. Hold on. I'll be right back. And he comes right back with like 2 dolls that he dressed up as his sister and his mom. And you could do it too. You could get some stuff from your mom, dress it up. It's going to be good. You don't have to talk to the furniture all the time like I did, or the boxes, and name the boxes. He has lost it. Oh man, what did you think of this scene? I'm sure a lot of people, this was like the big scene. For me, this was definitely a big scene.
Well, it does show how you can lose your sanity from being someplace for so long. They really emphasize that with the character. And everybody at this point, because we're already into season 4, I think everybody at this point, they have lost it to an extent. They just want to get out of there, but they don't know how they're going to get out of here. So they're just trying to get by. But yeah, to see this right here, it really does illustrate just how deep he has been impacted by all of this. Because again, he's been there since he was a kid. You know, the father wasn't there, no one else was there. So it makes sense to me that they would show this to highlight all the stuff that he's been through, the trauma he has dealt with, and why him giving this advice to Ethan. Obviously, I understand why Tabitha would be concerned, but yeah, by the end of this episode, makes you wonder what's going to happen with her in the future. And whether or not Ethan should be looking into this type of stuff here.
Yeah. It was just a little bit out of control with all of that. I just, but then either way, there was a cool audio scene right toward the end of this segment here.
You need to stop it right now. You need to stop it right now, Victor.
What's wrong?
We're done. We're not doing this anymore. Stop. Ethan, listen, you're never going to be alone. I will never, ever let that happen to you. And I swear to you.
That's what my mom thought too.
Drop the mic. Answer that one, Tabitha. What you got for that? And then she'll say, well, you're right, but I am your mom. Dun, dun, dun. That whole thing. But yeah, it brings up good points. But this is survival techniques. It's wacky. It's crazy. But it could be useful. The funny part with all of this is when he was talking about the peaches and the rock. There's no more peaches here. So do you need the rock? That should have came up. Ethan should have said, where are the peaches? Oh, yeah, you're right. I ate them all. All right, forget the rock. Whatever. But anyway, we also get another big moment here with Boyd, with Christy, and he comes clean. Yeah, I'm hearing things. I'm seeing things. I'm losing my mind. She's trying to figure out, is it related with the tremors? I don't know. I don't keep track, but a lot of things are happening. I just need a pill. That's it. Give me a pill or a Band-Aid. You got one of those? He's just rambling at this point. She really doesn't have anything. And it's all by design, this scene, because you see them both standing in front of the ambulance. Because the truth is, all the medical supplies that they would even have, anything somewhat new or relevant, it would be in that ambulance. And that's all they have. There's nothing else. There's not a big hospital down the road. There's nothing. And even if there was the treatment and stuff, no, he would need counseling for the things he's hearing and all the other stuff. It would be a mess. It would be a mess. It's not going to happen. But I'm really curious to see where they go with all this. I'll tell you this much. I don't think Boyd makes it out of Fromville at any point. I don't see that. I'm just putting it down now. You could say what you want in the comments. I'm like, whoa. I don't see him making it out. I see him as being the one that helps everyone. And it also goes back to the name of this episode. I think this is a clue, because once you filled in, because I was like, oh, heavy is the head. And then what's the whole term? What's the whole saying?
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
There you go. Who's wearing the crown in Fromville? Jade is smart and all, but he's not wearing the crown. And it's Boyd. Boyd is dealing with all this. Go ahead.
I like how you explain that with Boyd. The way I see it is this is also in reference to Tabitha and Jade, because they are the ones that are going to be the key to everybody getting out. And they're trying to emphasize this is a very big deal. And these are all the obstacles that you both are going to have to face in order for people to try to get free. And I think that's why they emphasize these two characters heavily most of this season. Boyd also, but I think them specifically, because Boyd is leaning on Jade to figure things out. And Tabitha is also important, but she's doing her own thing. So I think the title is definitely referencing those two characters for sure.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting with how they play this out, but I'm sure everyone watching, listening, don't expect everyone to make it out. Yeah. I am still expecting Jim to come back. I'm going to keep holding that candle. They washed that away, and that's another little part. There's so much going on in this show. And we know because people put in the comments and people will watch because there's so much to unpack and everyone's picking up. And even the show, I feel, has time at times it loses track because we still don't hear any mention of the ruins, all the stuff Julie talking about how she can go back in time and see things. She hasn't told anybody about this besides Randall. And Randall, shout out to this dude for keeping secrets. I don't know why. I thought he was just going to blab it out, but no, he's kept that secret and it hasn't come up and it didn't come up here. So, in fact, did we even see Julie in this episode? I don't think we did.
No, I don't think we did. It might have been. It might have been very briefly if we did, but they didn't focus on her at all.
She's hanging out with Randall. They're smoking it up in the back, right? Because I don't think we saw him either. But we do see. We see Sophia. We see Sophia going into the police station, and Boyd also lives in the back there, and she's looking around, and we know what she's looking for. She's looking for her suit. She needs her suit. The crazy part of this is that she takes the suit. He's gonna know it's missing. I thought she was going to.
He saw that.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna just wear it or smell it. She likes smelling things, right? I thought it was gonna be, or maybe there was something in the pocket or in the seam she was gonna take out. Maybe I don't know, a feather or something to trigger some more magical stuff. But no, because in the next scene she shows up at Sarah's at where she's staying. Sarah's flipping out. Where were you? What's going on? I'm sorry. I was at Colony House. I was scared. She gives a whole speech and all that stuff. I just wants to go inside. Just wants to leave. Well, what's in the bag? Oh, what's in the? Nothing. I just don't want to. I'm stressed out. There's a lot going on. What do you? I don't like the clothes. I'm wearing dead people clothes, and the response from Sarah is like, "Oh, I get it. Well, you're dealing with things a little better than I was. Hey, I know another spot with good clothes. Yeah, but that's still dead people clothes. I don't know. Do you know? Is there Macy's around here? What are you talking about? You know a spot with some good clothes." What are you talking about? It's like, now we get it. There's storage stuff, and okay, let's. I could just play the other advocate on here. That you could say there was stuff that was in trunks, and maybe it was just. But still, the people that they belong to are no longer there, unless the people that's still alive, and then you start doing the trading. Remember early on with that girl that wanted the sweater and all that stuff. That was like season 1. There was that girl that she wanted Julie's shirt or sweater or something, and they were like, "Oh, we share things," and yeah, she didn't make it. But but it was just funny that was her answer to this. Like, I know another good spot, and we'll go, pretty much shopping. Yeah, sure, whatever. What I'm surprised is that Sarah didn't say, "All right, well then, let me see what kind of clothes you picked out. What do you want? Oh wow, you want to look like the man in yellow with Curious George. Oh, you're going for that look." That's what I think of every time I see that. But she doesn't bring it up, and she goes into the house. I'm waiting for this to develop into something as well. She picked to stay with Sarah for a reason. She did that test, the water test with Sarah for a reason.
Yeah.
Where is that going to come up? You know what I mean? Like something has to happen.
That's a great question. I'm also waiting for that, and then she tormented Henry as well. I do want to know where they're going with this. I will say this though, this episode with the whole stealing the suit and then transforming back into the man in the yellow suit, I think this is some very tricky territory, because I feel like as a viewer, at some point they're going to find out who Sophia is, and I feel like in this episode now they're moving closer towards that, because like you said, all the questions Sarah was asking her, she didn't ask her that question, but they're moving in that. And I feel like Sophia is going to slip up, and at some point, they're going to get their answer very soon. It has to be coming now. So,
it's great that you brought that up, because throughout all this stuff happening, we had Henry show up at the diner talking to the bus driver lady who now runs the diner. I want to help out. It's like, okay. He goes in there. He's dealing with his own issues. We've all agreed, people put in the comment, we all agree that this is all trickery. That's not real. The visions that he's having is not real. This is all planted by Sophia. And we'll just get that whole segment out of the way right now, because he's seeing Victor, who still looks creepy even in the real world. I don't care what anybody says, he still looks creepy. We see Sebastian, he's got a grandson. We find out Eloise is a school teacher. She's going to be coming to town now that dad's awake, and the whole explanation for what's going on here is that, hey, remember when mom came over with 2 hits of acid for the birthday party, whatever? Yeah, well, they were spiced with something else. They were laced with something. You got messed up. You took it the wrong way. You've been here ever since. That would be decades, because he was a little boy, right? Mm-hmm. So no, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. Henry shouldn't even buy that. At that point, wait, there's no way I've been laying in his bed that long. Come on, my back would be full of sores. You pull the plug at some point. You know what I mean? No, decades long like that. No. And then Sebastian's not a little baby. He's a grown kid. You know, no, none of this adds up. But it at that point doesn't matter, because in his head, this is what he wants. This is his vision. He wants to see his son again and his daughter, and this is all great. And then the nurse comes in, and the nurse says, "Oh yeah, you know what? You're doing great, but if you want to snap out, you have to disconnect. You have to release the anchor from where you're at, because at this point, he's also in the real world." Well, we want to say back in Fromville. Remember, he was just hanging out at the tombstone, the gravesite, I should say, of Miranda, and he's just freaking out with this whole thing. So the key here is, what is the anchor? It cuts off, and he doesn't know, and he starts crying and the whole thing. So what do you think? I think the anchor is to be a saboteur. He is going to have to end someone's life on this show, or right, because if the anchor was going to be, you have to end your own life, just say it. Just say, end your own life. And then that's when we see him climb on top of the roof, and we do the call back to that, because the Victor situation, which I felt when it happened a few episodes back, felt out of place, very random. Remember when Victor was on top of Colony House and said, "Oh, they're like, what are you doing up here? You're going to jump?" No. I'm just remembering when a guy jumped from here. So what? What does that have to do with anything right now? Why are you bringing this up? You're bringing this up because this is going to connect with someone else doing the same thing. And I think that's what's going to, you planted the seed, the idea for someone else to do it. And I think that's what we're going to see. I think the anchor is for Henry, and it's going to be one of those things. Can you do it? Can you take the leap of faith to jump? You'll end that life, but you'll be free. And then you'll come back to reality. That's what I'm thinking. What do you think with that?
I definitely think, this is a test very similar to what was done with what Sophia tried to do with you just mentioned Katie,
Sarah.
Sarah.
Yep.
I think this is all a test. And again, it's like they're taking their time to show you what happens for a reason. That's why something has to happen. Like by the finale, I would think you're going to be very clear as to what these characters are going to do and what her long-term plans are for Sarah. But one thing I will say, with him snapping in and out, you mentioned earlier about Eloise. Yep. Once again, they reference this character and we don't see the character. So I 100% believe we're going to see that character before the season is over, because it's just like they reference her in multiple episodes. You never see the character. I think it feels like they're building towards revealing that she is there, or she shows up at some point in with what they're doing. But I don't know long term with what they're doing with Henry, though. I just know that I go back to the comments, because we did get comments from the last episode, and people were making a mention of the fact that Sophia had asked him when she put that blood in there, "Do you think that this is all a dream?" And again, when they showed the recap of the last episode, again, they went back to that scene where she asked him, "Do you think this is a dream?" So I think Sophia is messing around with him, again, similar to how she's messed around with other characters, but I have no idea where they're taking this until they expand upon it.
Very interesting with all of that. Yeah, because now one thing we do know from this that we've learned is that for Sophia to turn into the Man in Yellow, she needs a suit. She just can't do it. She needs a suit, and that's fine. The Batman needs a suit too. If not, he's just Bruce Wayne. You're like, "Yo, I'm Batman." No, you're not, Bruce. Stop it. You're just a rich guy who got mad. Cut the bit. I'm Batman. Hey, get out of here. Shoosh. But it's the same thing. So anyway, we also see Sophia going into Tabitha's house. She finds all the pictures that Ethan is drawing and gathers them all up. I'm assuming she takes them all. right? Because she was
Yeah.
following him. Unless she just was like, oh, this kid is such a messy messer. Just like, let me clean this up. So I'm assuming she's taking them all. Right. We also got a quick scene with Boyd where he gets another vision from the priest that passed. And that one again telling him, listen to Jade. You gotta do it. You gotta go through with this. You gotta go the extra mile. You gotta go into the tunnels. Gotta go through the whole process. He just keeps like rejecting all of this, but he should listen at this point because he listened before, but then stopped when it was the whole door thing. Jade also winds up getting into his own motions where he's flipping things around, and then he just got the idea. It's like, oh, wait a minute, the bottles, right? They get Kenny and Boyd, they go to the tree, and he's like, this is it. I remember now. I remember there's one point there where I could see the roots, and that's the bottle tree. We're going to rip the tree out, and that's going to be a point of entry and exit. So we'll have two. There we go. Problem solved. Are you happy now, sir? Are you happy? And Boyd is still not happy. No, what's plan B? Plan B, I agree. You should always have multiple plans. In case one goes foobar, then you got other ones. But that's not what you asked for. You wanted the genius to come up with another way to get in and out. And he did. And you know what? This works. What doesn't work, though, is how the show explained it here. And people, go ahead, put it in the comments if you're like, yo, Adam, you got it wrong. You're the wrong one.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Because he said, this is what I thought was going to happen. Let's use the truck and everything, rip the tree out. Okay. So now you have the hole through the roots. So that way they can go use a rope, go down there. They're still going to have the front door, have people protect through the front door. That way, in case something happens, they can get out through there. And then they have the tunnel before going in for the attack. The way the show made it seem is like, no. And this is why Boyd had an issue with it. He says, what if they can't make it here? What if the tree doesn't rip out in time? Then what? Well, no, I thought you were going to rip the tree out beforehand. You don't wait till the day of. It's like, all right, you guys go through the front. We're going to work on up here and we're going to try to rip this tree out. We're going to, as Boyd said, do landscaping. We're going to try to pull this tree out last minute. No, I thought do this beforehand. Get this situated. Get the hole from the tree open. So then that way you can start working on it, right? Doesn't that make more sense? Not trying to do it the same day. Because what if, Boyd is right. Yeah, you run in through the front door, jab. You're getting them all out. Some of them wake up, start chasing. Some of the guys like, hey, where's the tree spot? Oh, it's in the back cabin. All right, come on. It's going to be. And then you still hear everybody on the top, heave. Oh, heave. You're like, oh, damn, they haven't even ripped this tree out. What's going to happen? What's going to happen is you're all going to die is what's going to happen. That didn't make much sense. That's what threw me also. Put in the comments if you think I misheard or if you're like, yeah, that's how they described it, that they were going to do that all in one take. Rip the tree out and then enter through the front door. I thought, let's do all the tree work done prior to that, maybe a day or two, because it's going to take time. You can't just like push that tree over. It's going to take a lot of work to get this tree open. And then with the roots and all that. Oh, that was something there, but whatever. We'll see. Then with the Fatima, right? Fatima goes back. She talked to Ellis. Ellis wants to stay with her at the clinic. And she was like, well, you don't understand what I'm going through. Yeah, I do. No, you don't. You didn't have a creature grow inside you or something. Yeah. I mean, you could splice this any way you want. We've all heard this story in many, many different ways. So, yeah, there's no way Ellis can relate. So he needs to stop this. But it's genuine. He pretty much says it. He's like, if you go, I have no home. And that's sad. That is sad because it's like, what about Boyd? Your pops. He's still alive. Yeah, look at Kenny. Kenny lost both his parents here. He's still carrying on, and he lost his girlfriend to a girlfriend out of all people to show up in Fromville. It just so happens to be the girl that you like that you're about to ask out. It's her ex-girlfriend. What the hell? Kenny can't catch any look. That's why I'm surprised he's still on the show. I would have thought they would have killed him all. They teased it a few times. Remember, he wanted to leave. He was going to venture off. He's had it rough, but he's stuck. He's keeping things together for himself mentally. We're here. Yeah. Because even in the last episode, remember, he's like stepping up. I'll do it. I'll go out there and stuff. So definitely filling in that role of being the man. Two big segments right toward the end happened. Two big ones here. All right, we'll go with the first big one. First big one was when Victor and Ethan, Tabitha head back to town. Tabitha says, I'm going in the house. She goes into the house. The phone's ringing. Right. It was Little Caesars. Hey, your order's ready for pickup. Do you want delivery? She says, no, thank you. I'd like Domino's. She hangs up. No, but has she ever picked up that phone before? I don't remember if she's ever. And I don't. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. Put it in the comments if you remember that. I don't remember. I remember, of course, we remember Jim doing it. So when that phone was ringing, I was thinking, oh, this is Jim calling. And he's gonna go and talk, and my prayers are answered. He is coming back. She's gonna bring it up to Julie. Julie's like, yes, this makes sense. I see him. I've been trying to save him. I do this thing with the stones. It's fantastic. I do have a seizure. It doesn't look great, but you know what? I'm getting closer. Do you want to help, Mom? No, that doesn't happen. It's Tommy. Now we know Tommy died as an infant. He never talked. So the voice. If that happened in my situation, knock on wood, hopefully never happens to anyone. That's a horrible situation, losing a child, especially at that young of age. But if someone calls and says, yeah, it's me, I'm your son, it's like, no, you're not. He didn't even have a voice. Guy, Google it. That's it. I'm hanging up. Prank call. I'm reporting you. But no, it says, hey, and what gets her moving though is if you don't go to the RV, I'm gonna hurt Ethan and Julie. There you go. I'm gonna hurt him. And it's like, okay, all right, you got me there. I'm gonna head to the RV. Did you think at that point she was gonna die? Did you think this is it? This is a setup?
Well, that certainly would have been a great way to set things up. However, what I would have done is, if they were going to take her out, I would have had the call come from Jim, and Sophia, aka the man in yellow, is now taking on the form of Jim. That to take her out, that would have been a lot more dramatic and a lot more effective. But I also thought it could have been Jim when the phone was ringing, but I figured, okay, it's not that, because we already saw Sophia is in the house earlier. So this is why you're the big boss, Rich. This is why you're big boss. You want the good points, because this is it. It's like, I guess Sophia can't put on other outfits and transform into those people, because that would be awesome. Yeah. Think about that. If she could just go in and just pick up Jim's clothes, then she's Jim. She picks up Victor's clothes, she's Victor. Pick up her. She can't do that. It's just the suit. That's it. It's just the yellow. So now that narrows that down. So if we were even thinking it's possible that she could transform and become a chameleon and do it, she can't. It's just this girl that she is now. And I hope that Acosta, who's still doing research and stuff in the basement, and remember Sarah's helping her, that they're going to find old images and they're going to find a picture of Sophia and see that she was there at some point. Why does Victor not remember her? I don't know. Maybe he never saw her. They could just play that part. But she must have been there. Or maybe she was there way before Victor showed up. You know what I mean? She could be a very old character that was there. Mm-hmm. Prior to the Victor situation, so could be that. We jump over real quick. There was an argument back and forth for Marielle and Christy. Christy's upset. Oh, why'd you tell her that whole thing? And then talk about the power, what she was dealing with. She's my patient. Shut your mouth. Okay. And the reason why I just brush over that is because when we do get back to Fatima and she's getting the everything checked out, who's right there with her? Christy and Marielle. Mm-hmm. Marielle, Chrissy just told you, or seen before, just step back. This is my patient, but yeah, your bedside. What's up with that? What I don't, and I get it. She was there to do the vitals and all that, but still, that was a great scene right there, because as she's talking about all this stuff, and she's like, well, now Fatima's buying into the whole thing. I was like, you know what? I did help. Maybe I could still do that. Maybe I could see some more. Do you think we can control this? And then we were like, yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, that's great. He's like, hey, can we talk outside? I was like, yeah, what I tell you? What did I tell you? And just go off on her. But she brings up some very interesting information. Pretty much, Fatima is a zombie. She's dead. What? Like the 19 heart rate and the blood pressure and everything. Like, there's no way she should even be here. She should not be alive. She should not be there. So is she dead? Is she a zombie already? Is it too late? Did Ellis and that whole hug, and it's like, I don't want to lose you. And she sort of hinted, she's like, yeah, maybe this is just the way it goes. Maybe it happens. Yeah. Maybe she already knows. Because I would think with the blood pressure and the heart rate and you would start feeling cold. You would feel cold to the touch, right? Because don't you need all that for the blood pumping to feel warm and all?
but it doesn't happen. But we'll see where that goes. All right. So then after we get into that, this is where it really ends off because Fatima, the Tabitha shows up at the RV. The man in yellow is there. I'm expecting something to happen here, or even bring Jim. That would be cool, right? Like Jim shows up, but no. The whole reason now that I think that the man in yellow wound up reaching out to Fatima was all that because, as she pretty much says, if we want to keep calling her Sophia, is that her and Jade are getting very close, closer than they ever have before, which tells me this is almost like a Groundhog's Day situation. It's always happening. There's always a group that come, they try to figure it out, they fail, they die, rinse and repeat. They trap some more people in here. It's a game. It's a game. So it's a game created by a demon. That's what I'm thinking right now. That's what Fromville is. They just randomly pick people and then they do this game to torture them. They get their jollies off. We don't know how long they've been there. We assume in their Fromville time, it's been years. But who knows when they leave? It could have just been a few days whenever they go back to wherever they at. You know what I mean? Maybe if that's the case, then yeah, scrap everything I said about, it could be murder and where's your husband? If it's just a few hours afterwards, then no. Then they could try to explain things. It's like, or maybe everybody comes back. Could that be a thing? It's like a game. You snap out of it. You make it out. You win the game. Whoever you thought died here didn't really die. They all come back. Could you see that happening? Everybody coming back?
That's a good question. I don't think everybody's coming back. I think there's some characters that are gone for good. I don't know if Jim is going to return. I mean,
he had to. He had to return. I told you. I'm gonna wish it.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna wish it. Like Boyd. I wish for the best.
Oh yeah. We have to see. We have to see about that. But I will say, the ultimatum that the man in yellow was giving, talking about, you're going to need to do something, and it felt like, again, that was said multiple times in this episode where people are being told they're going to have to do something, but there aren't really any specifics yet on what exactly they have to do. So I want them to get more clear about that in the next 2 episodes. They got to get more clear with this. This.
Hopefully they do make it clear. But we did get answers. There was a lot of answers there. They're getting close. It's working out for them. So okay, that's great. And he doesn't take her out. It says you're going to keep going with this, and we're going to see. I'm enjoying this. It's a game. It's a game. Yeah. And that's what he's playing with. And he has no plans of killing her or Jade yet. It's definitely going to happen. That's what I'm guessing. And then that's pretty much it. That's how this panned out. Yeah, we had that one scene where Boyd went crazy again and he saw everyone dead and he saw his wife standing there. But I was like, where's this going? We know he's delusional. He's seeing things. He's going crazy. We get it. He's been doing that with the priest. He's been doing it with all over the place. But where is this going? And the only thing I could think of is that he goes insane. And that's why I'll go back to that. He's not going to make it out of Fromville. He's going to help everybody else get out. But this is going to be too much. Maybe the spirits are still there. Because even though he's seeing his wife, he's not hearing his wife. She's not talking to him from beyond. It's not. That's different. And it's a different situation as opposed to what we're seeing with the whole thing going on with Julie and Jim. Because in that situation, that is Jim. She's trying to bring Jim back. And even if she does, that's going to be complicated to explain. And it opens up a whole other can of worms. Can we bring everybody back? And they haven't really gone back to that. And I wonder if they will and how that pans out. Because it gets complicated. All these things can get very complicated when they start, if you really start laying everything out. So overall, good episode. A lot happening in this episode. A lot going on for all the characters except Julie, who was MIA in this one. Who knows? Maybe she is still trying again with the ruins, with the whole storybook idea and that whole. Curious to see what happens with Henry. I'm going with the idea that he's going to take himself out. He's the anchor. If he can just detach, then he'll snap out of it and he'll wake up. At least that's what he's going to believe, at some point. Does it happen? I can see it happening. He's a sub character. He's not the main character. It's not Victor. Victor is a main character. So I don't see that happening unless they do a big twist and he's up top on the roof and then Victor tries to stop him and they both go off the roof. That's not happening, but that's me talking crazy again. But what did you think of this episode before we close out?
I thought it was a pretty interesting episode. I know that they tend to like to drag things out, so I want to see where they're getting to. Again, they built up a lot of different things, a lot of different situations and stuff happening to characters. So hopefully we will get a lot more answers and clarification in the next 2 episodes.
Yep, same here. So what do you people think? You're enjoying it? I'm sure you are. Everybody seems to be enjoying Fromville. We all have our little nitpicks and issues here and there, but no one's complaining like, oh, this is garbage. Why are we watching this? No, it's still good. It's entertaining. We want to see an outcome, and I have a feeling they're going to deliver it. If anyone's going to deliver, at least is Jade, and I'm believing that this method is going to work. It's going to happen. Boyd is going to have to do it. If he doesn't do it, I can see Kenny and Jade say, you know what? He's not the boss of us. We could do this. Let's just rip the tree. And then it's true. They could just go and say, hey, who wants to help? Here's the plan. We got 2 entry points this way. Who wants to? And people want to leave. They want to get out, right? We heard that earlier with Marielle talking to Christy with the whole Fatima thing. Doesn't care how creepy, how crazy it sounds. We have to find a way out. And if this is it, her seeing through the eyes of these creatures, this could help. All this is we'll see. But I'm enjoying it. I like the fact the show is moving forward. Yeah, it throws in some fluff here and there, a little misdirect, a lot of stuff going on with the Boyd thing. But at least we're heading in the right direction. You know, they're leading to something, and this is it, hopefully, to go and get the bones. And that's the other thing, before I end this out, the Man in Yellow brought that up about the bones. He said this could either help you or just cause a bunch of anguish, meaning I took it as, you could do this. You can get the bone, and you know what? You won. You beat the game. Or you fail, and then we just torture you all down there. So what is she going to do? This was clearly for a message planted to her, for Tabitha to then share with Boyd and do the whole thing to stop this. But you know what? You got nothing else to lose. You're stuck in Fromville. You're doing nothing with your life here. No, go for it. You know, it's like, oh, I might die. You're already dead. You know what I mean? You're not doing anything. This isn't living. This is surviving. So no, go for it. So I'm all for it, gung ho, and that's it. So speaking of all going forward, let's go Knicks, people. Let's do this. The night's the night. They're gonna win. It's gonna be great. Well, maybe they already won. I don't know. We're doing this a day early, a few hours early. Oh, it's a mess. But I'm excited. I'm hoping for the best. And for the best of this show. So thanks again for the likes, the hypes, the shares, the subs, the comments. You know, I'm always in there. I like hearing from everybody, your thoughts, your theories. I reply back. I don't just give you a like. You know, I'm jumping in there because I'm curious. Let's share these thoughts. All right, Rich, got anything you want to tell the people?
Oh, no. Thank you for your continued support. Checking out the show. Leave your comments. And as for the Koalition, if you are into gaming, stay tuned to the Koalition.com as well as the Koalition Gaming, because I'm going to be posting up a lot of Summer Game Fest stuff over.
Yep. If you don't recall, he went out there, he met with people, did interviews, got all kinds of info. And also we have The Walking Dead coming back, Dead City Season 3. That's in July. We're covering that over at the Koalition. You can just look in the description, show notes. You'll see there's a link right there. You can click it. You'll see our tab and you can check us out because we cover that as well. All right, everybody. Peace.